Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, our mission is to focus on, well, what is probably the most consequential change facing every single enterprise right now.
hmm
We're talking about the pivot from 2025's kind of fragmented early AI adoption into what 2026 is shaping up to be foundational agentic infrastructure.
And this isn't just a small step. It's a complete operating system shift for how businesses work.
Okay, let's unpack this. We've pulled
Yeah.
together a really comprehensive stack of sources for you. We've got fresh data from McKinsey, PwC, Gartner, and even the St. Louis Fed.
A really solid cross-section.
Right, and we're going to cut through the hype to define the exact transformation that separates companies just running scattered AI pilots today from the ones that are going to be fundamentally transformed by autonomous agents tomorrow.
That distinction, I think, is the only thing that really matters right now. AI has already proven itself, as a measurable force.
Oh, for sure.
But the data is showing that the next 18 months, that's the true crucible. This is where strategy actually turns into infrastructure and where the decisions you're making today are going to define your career and, frankly, the viability of your company long term.
So we're moving past the small stuff.
Way beyond simple productivity tweaks.
Yeah.
We are now talking about the core drivers of profitability.
Okay, so let's start with where we are right now. The reality of 2025. If you feel like Gen AI is suddenly just everywhere in your daily work,
It is.
in IT, in marketing, in operations,
Yeah.
well, you're not wrong. Adoption is incredibly widespread.
The numbers back that up completely.
Yeah.
I mean, we see that 88% of organizations are regularly using AI in at least one business function.
Around 8%.
That is a huge saturation rate.
Yeah.
It shows AI is no longer some niche R&D project tucked away in a corner.
And it's personal, too. It's not just some back-end system humming away. We know from the St. Louis Fed's analysis that 37.4% of working U.S. adults are actively using generative AI tools at work this year. And if you zoom out to the general population, overall Gen AI adoption is hitting over 54%. The tools have become democratized. Everybody's playing with them.
Right, so the access problem is solved. The tools are easy to try. But here's the crucial finding, and it really highlights the deep competitive divide that's happening right now.
Okay.
Despite that nearly 90% access rate, only about 1/3 of organizations have actually managed to scale their AI programs across the whole organization.
Only a third.
That's the scaling gap.
And we're also seeing a huge difference based on company size.
A massive difference. Larger companies, say over $5 billion in revenue, they're almost twice as likely to have successfully scaled AI compared to the smaller firms, those under $100 million.
So what's going on there? Why are the bigger players winning the scaling game? What are the specific friction points that are stopping the other 2/3?
Well, it boils down to something a lot less sexy than the AI models themselves. Infrastructure and talent. The friction points are, they're really stubborn. First, you've got these entrenched data silos. An easy-to-use Gen AI tool can't generate anything meaningful if it can't access the historical proprietary data that's locked in 5 different, non-integrated systems.
Right. And then there's just the sheer weight of legacy systems.
Exactly. An organization might have one team running a successful pilot on a modern cloud-native platform, but then trying to integrate that solution into the core, often brittle, decades-old ERP system.
It's the nightmare.
That's where the budget explodes and the project just grinds to a halt. The integration pain is very, very real.
And the third piece has to be the talent shortage. I mean, this directly explains why the small companies struggle so much.
It does. A small firm might be able to afford the cloud compute costs, sure, but they can't compete with the compensation packages needed to hire the handful of people who truly understand prompt engineering, data orchestration, and AI governance.
So it's the complexity, not the access, that's creating this chasm in 2025.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah.
You can use ChatGPT for free to draft an email, but redesigning your entire logistics planning system with an autonomous agent, that means overcoming these serious, costly infrastructural hurdles. So the core takeaway from the 2025 data is this. Access is cheap and easy, but true mastery, which requires solving all those infrastructure and talent challenges, that's where the differentiation is really purchased.
Okay, before we jump ahead to 2026, let's just acknowledge that even this uneven adoption is already delivering measurable results. We're not just talking about future promises.
Absolutely not. The St. Louis Fed's analysis estimates that Gen AI has already increased aggregate U.S. labor productivity by up to 1.3%.
Wow.
And for a macroeconomist or a CEO who's obsessed with efficiency, a 1.3% jump from a single technology in a short time, That's not a modest gain. That's a colossal validation of the investment. It's a sign a real shift is happening.
And the individual impact reinforces this. The data shows individual knowledge workers are saving time equivalent to about 1.6% of their work hours. We might hear that and think, oh, 1.6%, that's not much. But you have to imagine a 2,000-person organization where, say, half of them are knowledge workers.
Yeah.
That's thousands and thousands of hours repurposed every single year.
And that repurposed time, as we see in the data, is heavily concentrated. Industries like tech, finance, professional services, the ones most exposed to AI right now, they've seen 3 times higher growth in revenue per employee than the other sectors.
3 times.
Those are the early dividends. And they prove that AI works when you embed it deeply into high-value workflows.
Okay, so if 2025 was about individual tweaks in these early gains, let's look ahead. How is this forcing a massive pivot in 2026? This is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
We're moving from AI as just an add-on tool to AI as foundational embedded infrastructure.
And the engine driving this next wave is what we're calling the agentic shift. And I think for our listeners, it's really important to define what differentiates an AI agent from the Gen AI tools you're probably using today.
That is the critical distinction, yeah. When you use a Gen AI tool now, like a chatbot, you're the boss. You give it a single command, draft this, analyze that, and then it just waits.
It's reactive.
Exactly. It waits for your next instruction.
An AI agent is different because it's autonomous. It's proactive. It can set its own sub-goals. It can develop a whole step-by-step plan to achieve a really complex objective and then execute actions across different applications.
And it can self-correct, right?
It can self-correct if it hits an obstacle.
Oh.
So think of it less like a tool you open on the side and more like a fully automated digital employee assigned to a specific domain, like supply chain orchestration.
So it's a layer within your systems.
It's a layer.
And this shift from tool to this autonomous layer, it's not a slow burn. It's predicted to be an explosion. Gartner's projection on this is, frankly, staggering.
It is. They forecast that 40% of enterprise applications will feature task-specific AI agents by the end of 2026.
40%.
That's almost an 8-fold increase from the current baseline, which is under 5% today.
That's an incredible jump.
It means that in 12 months, we won't be talking about integrating a third-party AI tool. We'll be talking about our core enterprise software, your CRM, your ERP, having an AI layer embedded that is actively managing processes for you.
Can you give us a concrete example? What does that 40% transformation look like in practice?
Sure, let's take marketing. In 2025, a human manager might use a Gen AI tool to quickly draft 5 versions of an email subject line. That's a tool for a task.
Right.
In 2026, you have an autonomous agentic system embedded right in the marketing platform. Its goal is increase Q4 conversion rate by 5%.
Okay, a high-level goal.
High-level goal. The agent then autonomously analyzes the data, identifies a low-performing segment, drafts 50 hyper-personalized ad variations, launches a test across 3 channels, monitors performance in real time, adjusts ad spend,
And then reports back.
and reports back on the final lift. All without the human manager touching a thing. That's AI as a layer, fundamentally redesigning the entire workflow.
And the momentum for this is clearly building right now. McKinsey points out that 62% of organizations are already experimenting with AI agents in 2025.
And 23% are already scaling them in at least one function. So that experimentation is what's paving the path for this mass adoption we're expecting next year.
Which explains why the investment numbers are spiking so dramatically.
Exactly. Executives aren't just buying more SaaS licenses. They are funding core infrastructure. We see 88% of them planning to increase AI budgets specifically because they see this agentic potential.
And it's not just about whether you invest, it's how deeply you invest. Looking a bit further out, 92% of companies plan to ramp up AI investments over the next 3 years.
And the high performers, the ones already seeing that 3x revenue growth, they're allocating serious capital. Over 20% of their entire digital budget is now going into AI projects.
Wow.
And that capital is necessary because these multi-agent systems, the sophisticated orchestration you need to manage these workflows, they're finally maturing. This isn't just theory anymore, it's economic demand. You need significant computing power, specialized data pipelines to run dozens of these agents, coordinating tasks across your whole enterprise. You're rebuilding the core operational engine, and that just takes money.
Okay, so let's consolidate this shift.
Yeah.
2025 was defined by siloed experiments, fragmented pilots.
Right.
2026 is going to be defined by unified infrastructure and embedded platforms. We're moving from AI as a task tool to AI as this active layer within every system you use.
And this inflection point is driven almost entirely by the chase for higher profitability. In 2025, we focused on usage metrics. In 2026, the focus is squarely on measurable, scaled impact.
Right.
PwC reports that 60% of leaders now see responsible AI as a direct path to boosting both ROI and efficiency. The agentic system delivers that through reliable execution in revenue-generating areas.
Now, that 40% projection from Gartner is just so high for such a short window. What are the key hurdles, regulatory, security, that could realistically slow that down?
That's a necessary check on the enthusiasm, for sure. The tech capability is there, but two major factors could create drag. First, security. An autonomous agent is moving sensitive data across multiple applications. The attack surface for bad actors grows exponentially. So you need massive new investment in AI-specific security and governance.
Okay. And the second?
Regulatory uncertainty. If an agent makes a critical mistake, say, approves a fraudulent loan, who's responsible?
Yeah, who's liable?
The developer.
Yeah.
The enterprise. The agent itself. That lack of clarity creates legal risk. But current data suggests the economic opportunity is so great that most companies are deciding to manage that risk rather than wait for certainty.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, what's the fundamental risk for organizations that decide to wait? Let's see how 2026 plays out.
The data warns against any delay because early infrastructure investments yield what we call compounding advantages.
It's not just a head start.
It's not just a head start. It's a self-reinforcing loop.
Whoa.
The organizations that invested early get more operational data. They trade their teams faster. Their custom models get better faster. By 2026, they've built network effects around their data and their talent.
So if you wait, you're paying a penalty.
Two penalties. First, you'll have significantly higher catch-up costs to build what everyone else already has. And second, you're effectively opting out of the 3x revenue growth we're seeing today. It becomes a permanent gap, not a temporary lag.
This all brings us back to you, the listener, the professional, the executive. This isn't just about what your company is doing. It's about what you need to be doing today.
Absolutely. For knowledge workers, that 1.6% time savings you're seeing today from Gen AI, that has to compound. You have to shift from occasional use to integrated daily workflows right now. Look at every routine task you do, because by 2026, those AI agents we talked about are designed to handle them. The key for your career is to adapt your skill set to focus on the high-value, unstructured creative work that agents can't do.
Adapt or risk becoming obsolete.
It's that stark in some of these fields.
And for the enterprise leaders, the message is one of urgency and specificity. That 88% adoption rate is just the baseline now. It's not a competitive edge. Scaling is what differentiates you. You have to prioritize these deep foundational investments in agents, in data pipelines, and in the security frameworks today. Redesigning workflows for profitability isn't a job for next year. It's the main infrastructure project for 2025.
And critically, for everyone, whether you're a recent grad or a seasoned executive, the skills imperative is non-negotiable. The economics are clear. There's a documented 56% wage premium for AI-savvy workers.
56%.
This isn't a trendy skill anymore. It's core career competence. You have to build AI literacy, whether that's mastering agentic system design, deep data interpretation, or advanced prompting.
So the data really does paint a clear picture. The pivot from tool to infrastructure is happening as we speak. Building those daily AI workflows in 2025 isn't optional. It's the necessary advantage that positions you for the demands of 2026.
That's right. That's 62% of organizations already experimenting with agents. That's the quiet foundation for Gartner's audacious prediction. So considering this incredibly rapid shift from AI as a reactive tool to an autonomous proactive layer, we have to ask, what specific high-value, repeatable process in your organization are you starting to redesign today, knowing it will likely be managed by an autonomous agent tomorrow?
That's a critical thought to end on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.